I wrote a letter to the President Edgar Lungu, concerning the same case of Mapenzi Chuguro. You understand that that was 2016, on the 8th July, during the campaign, Zambia police shot one of the UPND youths, Mapenzi Chuguro, and the unfortunate part about that is case, up to today, justice has not been served. Up to today, the killers of Mapenzi Chuguro have not been disclosed to the public, of which we feel is not a fair thing, especially where our women are concerned in politics, because such situations, if there are no serious measures taken by the government, it will deter a lot of women taking part in political activities. So it's one of those special days that it's a very special day somehow, but very sad day, because it brings a lot of memories. Seeing a young person vibrant, that could have added value to the well-being of our country, being shot for exercising our democratic rights, that is unacceptable. And I still call upon the President, Mr. Edgar Lungu, that these are some of the critical issues that some of us we are using today to let his performance in leadership. What type of a person has he been to the country? Because a president, you have the authority, you have all the powers to demand for serious answers when such a thing happens. But a president, in the name of Mr. Lungu, he has been hiding killers of Zambians. Anyone who kills in the name of the PF, in the name of his government, he has not bothered to have those people prosecuted or disclosed to the public. Now, it has been a trend from the Mapenzi issues and many others. Even the way they killed Saman and Joseph Kaunda. Up to date, I can assure the country that the real killer of our dear brothers, they are not even in the police cells, they are not even in the prison, and the president knows them. They are being protected. So I think that's what I just wanted to share with the country, that today is the day when Mapenzi Chuguro was put to rest after she was shot by the Zambia police under the instruction of President Edgar Lungu as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And we feel the president has betrayed the people of Zambia where justice is concerned, because he chooses who should be prosecuted and who should not be prosecuted. Anyone who commits any atrocity in his name and to favor his interest, he does not care. So this is why we question, what type of a leader is he? Is he a person who's worthy to come back and lead the country for another 5 years? What are we going to see? We have seen all this kind of very disturbing political violence. But it's like we have someone who just wants to force himself to come back without plans for the country. And this is what we are saying. It is not good. Zambians should decide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Skyle. Welcome, guys. Tell me where you're watching us from. This is Queen Pumi here on Matomola TV. I see Tiki. How are you? You want to join? I will share the link after 30 minutes. Good evening, Elvis. I see you from the Copper Belt. Gwendolyn, I see you from Mandevu. Oscar, guys, join in, share. I know it's a busy Sunday. We are getting ready to watch the soccer game. A lot of people are not here, but we shall try to continue with the program, and then you can watch it when you have time. Otherwise, share, guys, share in your groups with your friends and family. Today we have three subjects, 3 topics to talk about. And the first topic is the violence, actually. Sikaile just paid the tribute to one of the lives that we lost. And today, Honorable Matomola has just shared that let me see, it's on our page. Somebody has just been hacked by the PF. Let me see the name of the person. So guys, there's a violence. We are being targeted. We are being targeted as UPND violently so that we can react. Now, we have been talking here to say this violence, what they want is if the UPND react, then the president wants to declare a state of emergency. That's why we have seen immediately after the national mourning period, the cases of violence have gone up. So we are here to urge you guys just to be patient. And you know, we are almost there. We are almost there. All this violence is just attacks to agitate people so that a state of emergency can be declared and then elections can be postponed. What's your comment, Sikaile, on the violence?
Thank you so much. I think a quick one. When you look at the political violence in our country, even today in the letter that I wrote to the president, I cited and I also put, there's a list that I've been compiling from 2015 to date of all the people that have been killed by the PF government. Last year, you also understand that I wrote to the president, I wrote a letter direct to the president, and where I asked the president to provide justice in all these state-sponsored killings. Then today, the president has not done, and has not bothered to talk about them, because at the end of the day, the people who are committing these crimes, these atrocities, they are people who are funded by the president himself and his team. So he's failing to curtail the political violence. Now, this is one critical issue that as Zambians we should understand. I see every time when the opposition try to defend themselves, people don't give a fair verdict. They say, no, the opposition is being violent and stuff like that. Now, I just want to bring it to the public that a president and the PF themselves, they are like a parent. The opposition, they are like children in the house. Because PF is in power. Mr. Edgar Lungu is the one who holds the instrument of power. If Mr. Edgar Lungu is to come out very strongly and very honest to the people of Zambia to say, I don't want political violence. He tells his boys to say, stop killing your brothers. No PF cadre will go out and kill. No PF cadre will go out and attack an opposition member. But because the president, he takes sides. He thinks he's the president of PF members and not the president of all Zambians. Under a normal circumstance, he's the president of everyone, including myself. But I question him how he can be my president when he can't protect me. When he sends people to attack me, how does I recognize him as my president? That's the question. So PF should have behaved like parents. They are parents, though they are in the government. They have to lead by good example. It was so shameful to see PF SG petitioning the ECZ. That is ridiculous. How do you petition the ECZ when you people are the one who holds the instrument of power? The police today, if you tell them that there's a UPN event, the police will not even spend 10 minutes to reach there. By 2-3 minutes, they'll be there. But report anyone who is affiliated to PF committing a crime, you will never see any police officer. Why? Because the police officer, they know that PF is in government and they command, they make all these commands. The same thing the president would have ordered to say, I don't want political violence. The history is there. Mwanawasa didn't even spend 2 minutes, my sister, to say he doesn't want political violence. It was just a single statement. He told them, he said, Vane, I don't want political violence. Should you be found wanting, the law will deal with you as an individual, not as an MMD member. Whether you are opposition, you belong to the ruling, the law will visit you. Never we could move under Manawasa's time. We can put on a regalia of your political, of your choice. Even this PF, by then it was the strongest opposition political party. People could put on PF regalia without anyone attacking them. But today, Mr. Lungu and his colleagues, they have forgotten that without MMD leaving that rigors, they wouldn't have been in power. If MMD behaved the way Lungu and PF they are behaving today, PF wouldn't have formed the government. So this is why PF, I rate them as a group of terrorist thugs, because their behavior is thuggish. We are Zambians, we are all Zambians. Why should we go and hack one another? When you look at it in 2015, there's a video where a president, he was even issuing threats that we can wipe them. There is no serious person who believes in democracy, who can issue a head of state issuing such words that you can wipe them. And this is why PF cadres, they feel protected. A very good example that I can cite today, why this political violence, I say it is President Edgar Lungu's project. When you look at what happened in Shesheke during the by-elections, where PF cadres, armed PF cadres, went there, caused a lot of atrocity, and were at an advantage of almost doing massive destruction. We had some professional police officers who came in and demonstrated leadership by sorting out those cadres. With evidence, they produced guns and stuff like that, that these were people who could have injured citizens there. What did the president do? Instead of the president promoting those policies for remaining professional, doing what they were sold, he fired them. So tell me how Edgar Lungu is not funding political violence. And convince me today how PF cadres can stop attacking, can stop killing Zambians like they are doing. Because they know that is someone up there backs them. They just don't do these things. This is why a PF cadres can go into a police station, beat up a police officer, do whatever they think of doing, because they know that the president backs them. There is an information, there is something that we have been investigating, where some police officers, they are being ambushed, senior police officers being ambushed by PF cadres in their offices, threatened to be killed. A police officer, you can imagine a commanding police officer, you are told to sit down by a cadre. This is what the Zambian people, you don't know what is going on in our country. And this is why we talk, because we don't want this mess. What type of a country do we want for our children? What type of a country are we going to leave for future generations? These are critical issues that today have to be answered by relevant authorities. We have seen the church. I'm very shocked that the church is quiet. But believe you me, this political violence that is funded by Mr. Lungu, if one day Zambians, they react, they sort of let us defend ourselves, all of us we are going to be victims. All of us we are going to be victims. I don't understand why the church, they think they are going to be excluded to what PF is planning. It's unacceptable. Yes. I saw the Chawama incident. Your colleagues, people are already struggling. When you look at those brothers, they are struggling. Their houses can tell you that there is poverty in Zambia. And someone, again, they already finished, they already a shelter which is in a very bad condition. You go and break that shelter. You leave your fellow citizen to do what? On top of that, you injure someone, you hack someone, you destroy their only shelter. Because when you look at those graphics, you see, it's so shameful that today we have people who say he laughs when you see people complaining that there's poverty in Zambia. Because personally, I could suggest that why those guys, they are to affiliate themselves to the opposition. Probably they are hearing a message of hope, that they want to change their lives, because their lives, you can tell from those photos from Chawama, where the opposition members were hacked in the night, in the middle of the night, that there is poverty in our country. And that's a constituency where the president comes from. That's a constituency where the daughter is aspiring to stand as an MP. What type of role models are they doing to the people of Chawama? So those are some of the critical issues that I feel we need to know. This violence is a cartel from State House. It's a project from State House. And if today President Edgar Lungu was to come out to openly and be honest to the people of Zambia, he doesn't want anyone to shed blood. I'm telling you, by tomorrow we'll have people campaigning without each one attacking themselves. We are one people. We are brothers and sisters. But the President Edgar Lungu, I can't point at any opposition political party who they don't hold the instrument of power. They don't command even the police. The police, they are telling us. Police, they are expressing themselves. We have seen this this police officer, Officer Jason Muson, who resigned. He told the country that we are being told to do the wrong things, which our conscience doesn't agree to, which is true. And I give a lot of credit to such officers who have said, no, we can't participate carrying out illegal orders from cadres, because they have been trained. These are professionals who should act in the best interest of the country, not in the best interest of an individual. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we are just talking about the violence. If you're just joining us, guys, share. We are talking about the trending violence that is increasing in the country. And for me personally, I'm appealing to President Edgar Lungu to call for peace in the country. If you know Edgar Lungu, if you're a member of PF and you're on this platform, can you please ask our commanding officer to call for peace in this country as we head to the elections? We don't want war. Zambia is a peaceful country. So that being said, we are going to move on to the next topic. And the next topic is we have seen some government officials in Southern Province using public resources to campaign. What is your comment on that, Mr. Skaile?
Thank you so much for that question. I think 3 days ago, we intercepted some information, intelligence information, where we managed to get hold of what is going on in Southern Province. Now, then we published it, so that because many times when we talk, we bring issues to this platform. People, they think we're just trying to be malicious. But we followed up the whole thing with our intelligence system team. We got all the information that anyone could verify. We provided the contact, the details that beyond any reasonable doubt. And we explained what those people, the PS, Permanent Secretary, Joyce Wacha in Southern Province, she's doing with the district commissioners. That is unacceptable. That's a pure abuse of public resources. And this is another thing that we have discovered during our investigation, that PF, because the last time, if you recall very well, Mr. Lungu, he made his ministers to stay in office illegally against the constitution of Zambia. Now, this time, they are using the district commissioners, they are using the permanent secretaries. As you know that when like during this time, the permanent secretary, they takes over ministries. They are more like the ministers. So public resources are being used by PF using the permanent secretaries. And I want to warn all permanent secretaries that these monies that you are using for PF benefits illegally, you are going to be arrested, because this is the money for the people of Zambia. This is the money that we should have channeled into our health sector to improve the lives of the people of Zambia. That is criminal, and that's a total electoral malpractice. Then this is why we have been calling upon the ECZ to say, can you intervene? They always say, where is the evidence? We are publishing the evidence, but they don't want to do the right thing. This is why I'm telling the people of Zambia that ECZ is a bunch of cadres reporting to State House. Instead of them reporting to the people of Zambia, they're reporting to State House. They are waiting for instruction from State House. ECZ, they know very well who's violent amongst all the political parties that we have. ECZ, they know very well. But every time they want to give cosmetic reports, the police, this police spokesperson, she was supposed to be acting on such electoral malpractice. Go and arrest Gacha, PS from Southern Province and the team for electoral malpractice, Mr. Kangani. If you people, you are here to save the interest of the people of Zambia, go and arrest those people. So that is illegal, that is criminal. So that is happening. The following day, after we did our first publication of what they are doing, the following day, the PS suspended the operations. And we exposed that again because we still managed to get into their system, and we exposed them to say, this is what we have done. And we have urged the people of Southern Province to be alert. Keep that information, call those numbers, talk to those people that we know what you are doing. We know what you are doing against the people of Zambia. This is the same thing. We also published something, the DC from Shwangani. And we have also seen a video from Shwangani where the DC is funding political violence. Using the same taxpayers' money. This is how PF is torturing the people of Zambia. They make people pay a lot of taxes, and instead of using those taxes to improve the people of Zambia, again, they use those taxes to come and beat the same people of Zambia. What type of human beings are they? So there is a PF, there is a lot of electoral malpractice. Even the purchasing of NRCs, why ECZ hasn't acted, why police hasn't acted, because they are all working under State House. They are not serving the interests of the people of Zambia. They are not obeying any law in Zambia apart from Lungu's directions. And this is why we are saying, Zambia, let us come together and rescue our country. people, if this country remains in PF's hands for another 5 years, you come and remember this broadcast that I'm presenting today. It will be something else. We'll have no Zambia to talk about. Our children will be like foreigners, will be aliens in their own land, because they will have nothing to inherit from this country of ours. And just imagine if today PF under Mr. Rungu's leadership, they were the people who got independence and ruled Zambia for 27 years. I wonder what could have remained of Zambia today, because these are reckless individuals, very with the criminal minds who doesn't care about that these resources that we have, that they have to be passed on to future generations. They are not there for their own benefits. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Skyle. I just want to add on the ECZ. Actually, ECZ, they have abandoned their own mission, because their mission of ECZ says, let me just read the mission of ECZ: to effectively manage electoral processes to deliver credible elections. So that is the mission of ECZ. And to me, ECZ has abandoned their mission. And then their values, they have 7 values. ECZ has 7 values, and they have violated 6 of those 7 values. So value number 1 is transparency, and then the other value is integrity, credibility, and also to be impartial, to be free and fair. So all those values of ECZ, they are not practicing any of them. That's why Mr. Skyle is saying right now, ECZ is a puppet, is a rubber stamp. They have abandoned their mission. So this is just my opinion. I can rightly say that we are alone, like we do not have an electoral commission of Zambia. What we have now is just a department of PF running the elections. So what I can encourage you Zambians is, let's turn out in numbers on the 12th and have a landslide victory. Because if we give them a chance of where the margin is really close, we are done, because ECZ is not autonomous. ECZ has become a department of PF. So we do not want a situation where we have to start asking them to do anything. They can't do anything. Like even the campaigns have been suspended, but we see Mr. Edgar Lungu campaigning. So ECZ is truthless. They are just something else. So right now, let's just maintain our peace and prepare to go to vote. And we should win this election with a landslide. Now, coming to the second point that I wanted to talk about is the point of youth voters. As you know,
before we go to the next one, can I just say something about the ECZ?
Sure.
So when you look at the ECZ, this is why today some of us were being vindicated of what we have been writing. We have been saying we are not trying to be malicious. We are not trying to make it, to criminalize someone, to dent someone's image. There is no credibility. Starting from the people managing the ECZ, there is no credibility. So how do we, at the end of the day, as Zambians, expect to have a credible
a free and fair election?
That's a very good example. If Judge Esa Oturu was a honorable man, he was going to resign right away in 2016 after the mess that he kept on. You can imagine an educated person announcing figures that surpass the number of registered voters.
A judge.
To control that mistake.
A judge.
And this is one thing that today we have to look at, we have to analyze. Even when PF is claiming that they have got the numbers, which numbers apart from these manipulations, these rigging schemes? Because when you look at last year, we had a margin of 100,000 votes difference. Now, when you look at the irregularities, we had on the copper belt where someone would go with a box of ballot papers and they bring them after 2 days. And they are accepted in the system.
Imagine.
Honestly speaking, what type of elections that those elections were conducted by Esa Oturu? By now, we expect, if he wasn't a criminal, I'm going to use this and he can do whatever he thinks, because that, for me, that's the right definition of his character. He's criminal because they sought to say, we are going to show integrity. We are going to defend, they are going to be transparent. Where is the transparency when the opposition have to beg you to fly to another place to go and campaign?
Imagine.
The opposition today shouldn't even actually ask for permit. They have to fly, going anywhere where they want to go. It's a campaign period. But ECZ is mute because PF, they are giving direction to SAP to say, no, cross this airspace. Who does that? Is these people that we can call credible men?
They are dictators. They are dictators.
Mr. Shindano, Mr. Esau, that you people, whatever is going to happen in Zambia, you're going to be held accountable because you're not being fair to the people of Zambia.
Whatever has happened, so we are going, Mr. Skyler, whatever has happened, we are going to look at the past and whatever is going to happen. We are not going to look at this election only. We are already looking at this election, but we are also going to look at the past. They can't get away.
A credible process, a transparency process, it will give a clear picture. Even when someone loses, people will say, no, I think this process was transparent. Now, when I say the registering of voters, new voters, everything has been a scam, has been hide and seek kind of
scam.
Collaborating with the PF, everything, they have just been working to disadvantage the opposition. And that is what type of democrats, what type of human beings are they? And this is one thing that I want again to remind the international community that we have been talking about these issues. We have tabled these issues to the international community. And whatever these PF are going to do today, the world will watch all the responsible bodies. You are also going to be held accountable because when we bring this problem, you have to escalate the solutions. We don't want when there's bloodshed, that's when you start, no, we are going to come in, we are going to do. We don't want that. And this is the direction PF is headed. Because how do they expect the opposition to accept the results when they are not giving the opposition an opportunity to express themselves? They are not giving the opposition to campaign freely, to monitor their activities. It's unacceptable. Even me, I would refuse. I would refuse. So PF and Mr. Rungu, this is the route, and this is what we have been talking about, Madam Moderator. We have been talking about these activities for so many years. We thank God that we have been vindicated. People, they just thought maybe we're just trying to be malicious. They're just trying to say, this and this. There's no propaganda. Whatever we have been publishing today, it's exactly what the PF are doing. So tell me how it is propaganda. When I wrote, I challenged them to say there is a register the State House is compiling. Have you seen this is bothering to make a follow-up? Because they know the truth. That's the truth. They can't even dare to sue some of us because they know that what Skyler is talking about is the truth.
And
I confronted the IG. Champion.
And they are not investigating.
I told him that this virus is funded by your boss, the State House. What did he do? I even called him. I called him. He couldn't because they know what we are talking about. There's nothing but the truth. And this is what Zambia should concern the people of Zambia. So this, we are on, just as you have said, we are on. And the good part is that Zambians were the majority at the end of the day. Let us stand strong, let us remain united, and we are going to defeat them. They are very few. Those police officers that you see around, they are also suffering. The military officers that are also trying to induce and all kinds of things, they're also suffering. They are coming to us, they are reporting to us, they are telling us about their problems. This is why we are here to speak for them. Because they can't come in the public, they're going to be fired to express their problems. So we are speaking for the soldiers, for the police officers, civil servants. We know what all the civil servants
are. Yes, we are the voice for the voiceless.
They have scrapped off these allowances for nurses and doctors who are handling COVID cases. They are getting doctors, throwing them in the police cells. What type of human beings? Where on earth, which country in this world has arrested doctors for asking for their salary? And not just peanut salaries as compared to what they give cadres. This is what we are against. What is in return, what do those cadres do to the country? They go and start terrorizing our people. Again, when those people, they get injured, you take it to a doctor who's not paid his or her salaries to provide the service. So you can look at this nonsense. You pay a thug to go and attack a citizen, and the doctor that you don't pay money, he's again made to attend to someone who you have injured, and you call this is the government. This is nonsense.
And Mr. Skyler, you brought up one thing about the doctors. So today I listened. There is a doctor who was giving a speech, a live broadcast, I think the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health went to inspect the government stores to see how well stocked we are and how prepared we are for this COVID. And like, as you know, all of us, we are in the middle of pandemic in Zambia. And this doctor was actually saying that the Ministry of Health is not equipped. Ministry of Health is not equipped in terms of PPE, protective equipment, for our nurses and doctors. And then that doctor, I'll find it and then I'll share it on this page. He also said that 100,000 of the AstraZeneca vaccine have gone missing. Can you imagine? So one, the medical stores, there is no equipment for our doctors, and we are in the middle of a pandemic. So we have seen a high rate of infection of our medical personnel because they are lacking the protective equipment when they are attending to COVID patients. And then the second important thing is they are saying that there is 100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine has gone missing. Guys, if you are still shouting Alebwererapo, I don't know. This PF, we are going to die if we don't get rid of PF to Arafana COVID. This whole country are going to perish. COVID is a preventable disease. Money was donated to this government from various donors, international, UN, Chinese ones. They donated because this disease, to fight it, you have to be prepared. You need equipment. You need to pay doctors. They should have hired doctors and nurses to staff all our hospitals, health centers. This didn't happen. So what I'm just appealing to you guys, if you are shouting, you are going to die from COVID, and that money you have stolen, you won't eat it. I'm telling you. We have to vote these people out so that we can bring sanity to our healthcare system. Here in America, what happened? What removed Donald Trump? Because of the way he handled COVID-19. A lot of Americans lost their loved ones. They lost lives because COVID, the way Trump handled COVID, he didn't care. People died. I think the highest number of casualties in the world came from the United States. And why? Because the leader, the president at that time, did not pay attention to ensuring that people have got the treatment they need, making laws demanding that people wear masks, closing down certain services and leaving out essential. So actually, guys, it is more important for us to really talk about COVID. If this COVID is not handled, the people who died in USA, if those are the numbers that were going to happen in Zambia, we are going to be wiped out. We won't even talk about cadres or politics. Those cadres will die from the COVID. And right now, we are not seeing anything. We saw the president with a huge crowds following him. The same thing was happening here, you know. That's why Valandati, history repeats itself. Trump was moving around with huge crowds of people. And those same people, they were the people dying from COVID. So this is what I'm saying, Zambians, open your eyes. Ngabale mipela 100 kwacha, buying your NRC. That money, you will die from COVID. COVID is a deadly disease, but it's easily preventable. It's common sense. Follow instructions. Wear a mask. Avoid crowds. You know? Simple. Get your vaccine. If you qualify, go and get your vaccine. This is what I'm saying. Like the hot topic here now, guys, is maintaining COVID. Is maintaining it. Because we can talk about ECZ doing this, PF doing that. If everyone perishes from COVID, then we have no country. This is my comment, guys.
Yeah, I think on the COVID thing, just yesterday I got some more information from some doctors who got to me to say, in some of these hospitals, they are being told to to make fake figures about COVID. And so you are saying, according to the ethics of doctors, of course, if you refuse to oblige to that, they are going to fire you. You know what is going on. And it's so sad. And when COVID started, I talked, if you are to go today, I issued the statements about it as a concerned Zambian. And at some point, we saw a lot of people pouring on a lot of support to the country. But we saw again support being stolen by the same people, taking to their drug stores, selling, opening businesses for their girlfriend and whatever you may call it. And we have also seen now what is going on in the country. Later on, we saw news that some COVID funds have been diverted into road projects. You can look at, this is how expensive it is for a country to have a pathetic leadership. When you have got leaders who doesn't think, who doesn't know what they are supposed to do for the country, you have a mess. And this is why I've always said Mr. Lungu's leadership is pathetic, beyond redemption. Because sometimes they do things like you don't know which planet they belong to, how they behave sometimes. And this is what just concerns that some of us as Zambians, because we feel our country is a good country that under good management, we can be on top of the world. We can achieve what we want to achieve. We can wipe out the poverty in our people, in our people's homes. But we need the right leadership, and PF is the wrong leadership that we have right now. They are wrong individuals. When you just look at the characters, even when they come to issue statement, few days ago, we were talking about the report of Amnesty International, the Madam Moderator. PF complained bitterly that Amnesty International, they are trying to fabricate issues, they are trying to around the country, they are trying to bring confusion. But what have we seen? People are being hacked every day. Have you seen Kanganja Kakoma Kanganja going to arrest anybody? Have you seen Esther Katongo issuing a statement to say, no, we have arrested PF? They know those PF cadres. In fact, what they do, these cadres, after attacking the opposition, they go and give these police officers orders. We have colleagues, people who have got patriotism in the police, in the army, in the Zambia Air Force, ZNS, in all the civil services. And they share what they are going through in these offices. They have seen. We saw a cadre. You remember, we have not forgotten that cadre who went and threatened to burn alive a civil servant for being suspected to be a member of the opposition. These things, they have not stopped. Our civil servants, they are going through this hell by Mr. Lungu, who, when he comes before cameras, he wants to pretend that he's a humble man. There is no humbleness in that man. If you Zambian could have a clear picture of what he seeks to plan, what he approves off of the cameras, you wouldn't even think of that. No, you can even want him to be near any state authorities or state powers, because he's here to destroy the country. He's here not to build. Even the issue of Kamwiri going back into his rantings, it's him who told ECZ. ECZ didn't make that decision by themselves. ECZ, they are just a bunch of puppets, a bunch of surrogates, people who have been told what to do. They don't do what they are supposed to do under the Constitution of Zambia, which gave them those opportunities. They are employed to serve the people of Zambia, but they have been turned into Edgar Lungu's cadres, just like he's turning the judiciary, the police, everything. And we can't have such a president and expect to develop, because anyone who's going to develop this country should come with a principle of uniting the country. Unity is the most important thing. When in a house there's cooperation, the father, the mother, and the children, and whosoever lives in that house, if you want to succeed, you must reach at a point of accommodating everyone to air their views. This is what we are planning to do at the farm. What do you think? Even the little one, give them an opportunity to express themselves. You say, what there? And you are going to see massive development because there will be cooperation. But PF wants to rule this country by dividing it. I'm telling you, there is no one who's going to be a president of Zambia who's going to say, me, I'm going to rule by excluding that province and that province. You are a liar. One province, even one tribal, if you just want to exclude them from your government, you will never manage to govern Zambia. This one I can rest assure you. So anyone who's going to come to develop Zambia should put in his or her mind that he or she should work on uniting the country. Because when we are united, we are going to share ideas freely. When we have got respect for each other, irrespective of our tribes, our whatever religion and stuff like that, we are going to share common values, and that will be developing Zambia together. Unlike the route that PF has taken the last 10 years, PF has done horrible things. PF government have killed. PF government have stolen. PF government have abrogated the constitution of Zambia, destroyed all the public institutions. What more evidence do we want as Zambia to know that Mr. Runga and PF, they are not worthy to be our leaders? I don't know.
Anyway, it's so sad, guys. We are here. We are talking about the COVID-19, and I'm just looking for a mask because I've seen people. I saw a picture today of some people in a church in somewhere in Kitwe, and they are all wearing masks. Just hold on, Mr. Skyler, you can continue. Let me just look for a mask. I'll be back. Give me a minute.
You're right. So other thing that we are trying to talk about, fellow countrymen and women, is that the rate at which our country is moving is very, very scary. And if we Zambians don't do the right thing in the few days to come, we are going to regret, all of us. These people, they have stolen, they have abused the public institutions, and they feel clinging to power by all means is their only survival. They have got nothing to offer to an ordinary Zambian apart from themselves and their families. But this country belongs to the 18+ million Zambians, and everyone should have a share, not only a few group of individuals because they can control political powers. They are the one who should be celebrating. They are the one who should be saying, no, go and eat it and all of us, we have to share the national cake equally. That villager in Vugu should also get a share. That villager in Kazungura should also get a share. That villager in Minrunga should also get a share. That villager in Chongo should get a share. Whether someone went to school, they are educated, a good government should plan for its citizens. And also make sure that the plans that we are going to implement today, they do not affect the future generations. But look how PF has sold this country. They have sold our resources on the silver platter. As long as they have been given kickbacks, they don't care about the people of Zambia. Look at the Mukura, where the province, the region where the Mukura tree came. That's what God blessed that region. And we needed a reasonable government to make sure that that Mukura, whatever the money is realized, is well spent to make sure that that region is properly developed. We wipe out poverty in that region. Again, we go to another region. We identify what is their potential. What do they have? We help them. We invest. We develop. They also benefit like that. There is no part of Zambia, I can assure, that has got no natural resources that can help that particular province to become a better province. There is nothing. All the provinces, they have got what it takes to be better places. But because we lack leadership, this is why we look like today we can talk about road shedding. When we have on the northern block, we have got a lot of water bodies. Why can't we invest there? Because we have got no leadership. We have got individuals. Most of these property, public institutions that we are depending on today, is those that were built in 1960s. Some were left by the colonial masters. But what has PF done today? They told me we have built police houses for police officers. What houses for police officers when they are messing up our country? A police officer today goes home with a negative in their accounts. If you want to go to a loan to build a house, my sister, they are going home with negative in their accounts. Soldiers, they are going home negative in their accounts. And you want to say, go in the streets and fight your fellow citizens. That's not acceptable. We can't develop as a country. We need unity. We need someone who's going to unite, someone who's going to bring all Zambians together. And that way we are going to prosper as a country. But not this group of people who want to divide us. We can't progress the way Mr. Rungu is governing this country. We need the people. We need a team of people across the country. We need to bring to sample the leadership from all the 10 provinces, credible men and women. We have them. We shouldn't look at someone as a tribal in these elections. And those that are going to form government, provided God helps us, we remove the PF. I'm urging you, don't give opportunities based on someone else's tribe. Give because someone deserves, someone qualifies, and someone can do to benefit the people of Zambia. That's my appeal.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm here, I'm wearing a mask. So I just want to demonstrate. I've been seeing pictures, people are posting, somewhere in Campisa, they were in a church and they were getting the Holy Communion, and all of them in the line, they were wearing their mask like this. You know, they had a mask. If you put on a mask like this, it's the same as not wearing a mask. You have zero protection. People, they say that you have to be around an infected person for 15 minutes for you to get infected. If someone has that virus, I don't know, maybe now there's this Delta COVID virus is different, but the original virus, they were saying that you have to be around someone 15 minutes for you to contract it. So people are in that church for hours, you know. People were in that church maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, and they are wearing a mask like this. So if one person in that room has COVID, guess what? He has infected the entire church. And that church, they were like maybe 300 people. So what I'm saying is, guys, you have to wear the mask accordingly. Otherwise, you won't even have to worry about an election because we are all going to perish from this COVID. It is serious. If you take your mask just for a minute, you cover you cover real quickly. You cover it. Quick. If you're out in public, keep your mask, face, nose, and mouth covered all the time. If you are going to get your communion, you just 1 minute, you cover again. But people were in line. They have been in that church for 2-3 hours. So God forbid, one person with the virus is going to infect hundreds. We've seen where one person can kill hundreds of people. So guys, this COVID thing is more important, in fact, than this election. It is very important that we maintain our health because as a country, we are all going to die. In this PF, they won't even have anybody to rule over. Even themselves, they will die because I saw them, wherever they were today. Like fish, they were on top of each other. And from there, that's why we are saying there is no ECZ, because ECZ was even supposed to come and issue a statement about that behavior of PF, including the president in charge.
They are ECZ for the opposition, not for PF.
I know, it's useless. But COVID does not choose. COVID does not choose if you are PF or if you are opposition. I'm telling you guys, be serious. It's not worth your life to go and shout for ECL who has a mask on. And he probably has a vaccination. And then if he gets sick, they will fly him away to treat him. Why are Zambians dying? Is it because of health care? These PF officials, they've had COVID, they have recovered because they have the best medication. They have everything they need to survive it. It's not that when you could get COVID is a death sentence. People are recovering. Why people are dying in our hospitals is because they are dying from lack of care. I rest my case.
Yeah, by the way, all of us, we have recovered. And, this is why we are saying, we expect a good leadership to take responsibility for such issues. But in a country, when there's wrong leadership, these are the results. Even just like we can start at a home level, like in a house. If the parents are not organized, what do you expect from the children? There's literally nothing. So here we have someone masquerading to be president of Zambia, but his attitude, they can't even match to that of someone who should be a parent. Because when you are a reader, all of us have been readers in different capacities. But when you want to lead people, you have to make sure that you care for everybody, even though that doesn't like you, even though that doesn't support you, but because you have been given a responsibility, you have to be there for them. You have to listen to their problem.
Okay, Mr. Sikaile, I have Mr. Oscar Mpombo. He's in Italy, and he says he wants to come on live. I want him to come in because Italy was one of the places where which was hit very badly with COVID. So, Mr. Mpombo, I've pinned the Zoom link on top of the message. I'll try to send it to you again. Like Italy was badly hit with the COVID-19, and he says he would like to contribute on the COVID-19. So, Mr. Mpombo, we are waiting for you. The link is there. You can continue, Mr. Skyler.
Yeah, so those are some of the critical issues that are surrounding the 2021 generations. Personally, I'm still just emphasizing that Zambians go out in large numbers and vote. This election is like a death penalty where you are just given that if you answer one question right, you are not going to be executed. If you miss it, you are going to be executed. This is where we are as a country. Anyone who plays with these elections, then he just know that we are done, all of us. Even you, I always sympathize, especially my brothers and sisters in PF who just make noise for the sake of making noise. PF is harmful to your life. Just like Mr. Chimbakambuli said before he turned to the lunatic. PF is poisonous. And they have demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that they are really poisonous. They have done all kinds of crazy things that sometimes when you sit, you begin to ask yourself, honestly speaking, are these human beings who knows that they have been given responsibility? Everything that PF has done, it has nothing to better the people, the people of Zambia, the lives of the people of Zambia. It's about themselves and not in the best interest of the people of Zambia. You talk about poverty today. Poverty, they are now getting prices for other countries that have got stable economies to compare with their mess. When they promised the people of Zambia that we are going to make this country Jerusalem on earth, but today they want to justify their failures to say, oh, the price of minimum in South Africa is so much. The price of minimum here. Are we in South Africa or we are in Zambia? Is South Africa going to be voting on the 12th of August? The answer is no. South Africa is South Africa. Zambia is Zambia. Our budget and the South African budget, they totally differ. The resources in South Africa, the resources in Zambia, they totally differ. So this is a sign of failures. When someone fails,
an insult. It's insulting the Zambian people, Mr. Skyler, like comparing Zambian food prices to South African food prices is an insult. It's insulting because, for example, even the income is not the same. Like
they should have been very clear during their campaigns that we are going to be comparing how other people they live in their countries. And that's how we are going.
Can they compare what is the unemployment rate in South Africa? What is the rate of the rand to the US dollar?
Their industries there, mind you.
Yeah.
Go to corporate,
we buy all our groceries in our homes there from South Africa.
Even
they're a production-based economy.
Yeah, we have toothpicks. Toothpicks coming from South Africa, meaning that we are a country that we don't know where we are going, and people they are still justifying their failure. They want to sound it.
No. There is no Alebwele Lapo. No Alebwele Lapo. If you are a youth and you are shouting Alebwele Lapo, you are sick. There is no Alebwele Lapo. No.
And basically, that's what I can just say is that in the situation where we are as a country, it's very unfortunate that the so-called educated people today, they don't want to provide the solutions to our country. We still want to take advantage of the people. They are our illiterate people, because in the village, people have not gone to school. You go and give them a 10 kwacha. When it is, some of us, the reason why you see us voicing out, because we were brought up by villages, and life is not easy there. Life is not easy out there. Now, in the village, the way villages are set up, a child of one person is a child of the entire community. This is why today we come out so strong to talk, because our people in the villages are suffering, and we feel we are the only voices that they deserve. We are the only people that they labored for, to take us to school, to protect us, to make sure that we grow up, so that we go back and save them. But today, some people, you are a judge, you are learned enough. Instead of protecting the constitution of Zambia, so that that villager there, their life is protected, you side with criminals, and you are proud that you are educated. To me, you are the most illiterate person that we have in the community, because if you can't stand on the truth, you can't interpret it straightforwardly, the laws of the land, and you call yourself an educated person. If you are educated, you should be there to stand on the truth and defend the interests of the majority, especially where Zambia has reached. You, the educated people, come out openly and tell Lungu and colleagues that what you are doing is wrong to the country.
They are greedy. For me, all I can say is these educated people, they are using their education to oppress the people. Lawyers are manipulating the law to oppress the people. It's nonsense. And this is what annoys me, because lawyers are experts in the law. So they know how to manipulate the law to oppress the people. We know that Zambians have been denied of education. Because if people are educated, then they know their rights. That's why I am in human rights. I went, I've done my job, which God gave me. I have children. I raised them. They are all educated. These are my bonus years in life. And these years, I work to liberate Zambia, educate Zambia on their human rights. Because if people know their rights, they can fight for them. So that's the job that we have. Zambians, they are undereducated. Our literacy levels are very low. That's why people accept anything. People accept a chitenge and they'll be dancing for that chitenge. So I think to give room to all our new participants who have joined in, you can raise up your hand and speak when you are ready to speak. And then Mr. Skyile and I will close in the end. So if you are ready to speak, you can just raise your hand with a little icon, and then you can come on, and we'll give you 2 minutes to talk. And then in the end, Mr. Skyile and I will close. We have Andrew, Mr. Mwansa. Welcome. How are you? You are
all right. I'm all right. Good afternoon that side, and good evening to everyone here in Zambia.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Can I continue?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Skyler, good to see you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwansa. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you, sir. It's good to have people like you, sir. I've been following you on Twitter. I've been following you almost everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much.
The only person I think I've seen was that capacity to take Zambia forward. In Zambia, most educated people, they are too weak. Like you've said, some educated people, they've got just interest of feeding their berries, and some like you, they've got interest of supporting others, and that's a spirit which we want as a country. At this moment of time, educated people, they are trying to destroy every poor individuals in such a way by they are taking advantage on them. You get a point. At this moment, as Zambia are going to the pause, all they are focusing is about continuous ruling. You can't continue ruling if you don't have plans for the same poor people. How do you want to continue? Because all I know about ruling is about having plans for the people, not for the country, but for the people. Because you don't rule empty country, you rule people who are in the country. And let me just speak on the situation which we are experiencing at the moment. The ECZ, I don't know where they are standing by allowing Mr. Edgar to continue campaigning. Today was in Kawata. It's very unfortunate whereby we are looking at the issue of coronavirus, but him, I don't know if he considers corona situation. It doesn't mean that if him uses hand sanitizer, even other people they use it. No, they don't. You know, as a country, being a leader, if you can't lead by example, it becomes a challenge. For example, I've already said earlier, Mr. Skyle, you being my leader, if I observe the way you do, like you are ever participating in goods way of leading the country, it will be easy for me to continue with the same spirit if I see you doing it in a good way. But look at the situation which we have in our leaders today. They are doing things contrary to what they are preaching. You get the point? That's the only challenge which I've seen. And on the other hand, I think I've observed Mr. Chimbakambwili has continued the issue of hate speech, which is also, it has become a disease which will be difficult for us to cure over. And at this moment of time, let me just also appreciate those who are watching us live. I think these are my points. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Yes. So, yeah. Next, we have Ragi. Can you continue? Can you come in? Ragi Charlie, you are on mute.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, madam.
You're welcome.
Good
How
evening, sir, Mr. Skyle.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you? Good morning,
Nice to
madam.
see you.
It's
Thank you very
after,
much.
yes, good morning. Today we are a bit early.
Thank you. One thing, madam, which I want to contribute as well is that as a reader, I'll start with our president, Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu. As a reader, madam, he has to read as an example for us, his children, to follow what he's saying and also to believe that the coronavirus is there. How do we believe if him is not reading us by example? He's doing his road show with crowd, a lot of people, and most of them, they are children which are following him to say, hey, president. How do he care about those children? Wow, there's pandemic in this country. No, our president, he has to read us as an example. I'm very concerned on that. How that he always say about caring of us. How does he care about us while he's destroying us? Like it's like this is mentality punishment, whereby he's stopping these oppositions to campaign while him is campaigning. How could that be possible? Also, we are citizens. And the one thing which I'm concerning about again is that I heard the news whereby they want to open up the schools. And they are stopped, some companies, they are stopping people to say, stop coming for work, there is coronavirus. They don't want crowds, people to gather, they don't want that. But how could it be possible for them to open schools? They just want, like those people, because you know, the one thing which we have to look at is that a lot of youths, for now, they've registered for them to vote. And one point makes my day. I was watching CR1 where he raised the point to say he wants those like students to be at the school for them not to find time to vote. And we refuse that as a youth. That we won't let it happen. We won't let that happen. I've got rights, we've got rights to say no where there is a problem. Thank you very much for the viewers. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you very much. Ragi, you have raised two important points. So me, when I was in college, I think one of the years when I was in college, an election came, and you know what the government did? They gave because we registered for voting in our home, where we live, in our towns. So the government, they gave us transport money to go back to your village, to your town to vote and come back. So that's what the government did. But I don't think this government, who can't even care to give meal allowances, is going to give students to go and vote, money to go and vote. So for me, I'm just appealing to say, one, this election, the majority of voters, they are youths, they are students. So if you say you are going to stay in school and then not go to vote, it means that you have actually sold your country, because this election is very important. Vote in this election like your life depends on it. Why? Why? I say so because if you are in a degree program and you are in your last year, have you seen how many people have been 5, 10 years in the village with their degree? No work. Eh? So mama bali kuma school atine na anaikala mu school because valentine school ngana mkuvota. Forget that education. That education is no use to you if it is packed in your bedroom or in your suitcase. It's no use. It's more important for you right now, our Zambians, but youth, Mwemana, hear me. It's more important for you to change government than for you to be in a class. Because in that class, there is no job for you. Me personally, I have 5 family members, degree. But guess what they are doing? Utuntemba, na degree pasa within merit. You know? So it does not make sense. I'm just telling you, if you're a student listening to me, or if you're a parent who spent money to pay for your child to go and get a degree, tell them they will go to school after they vote. This election, you vote like your life depends on it. There is hope. After August 12, there is hope. If you vote, there is hope for you to get a job. But in school, you go and pay in malaria. You pay the exam fees, they eat it, and at the end of it all, you don't even have a job. That's my comment. So we are saying no. Go to school after you vote. If they say they will, suspend you or expel you from school, so be it. When August 12 comes, everyone will be reinstated.
And Madam,
yeah,
what we are as a students, I think someone who is at college is matured. He's able to identify the situations. We are able to do that. So what I can say, guys, let's as a students, wherever you find, wherever you're based in your schools, let's sit down and see where we are going as a country. We've got a lot of people who've been to colleges, started, even like you find him, he has got 3 degrees without a job.
imagine.
And you are doing that degree, it's just the first one, and you've got that hope I'll find job, while others, they are in villages. Where do we find our hope? In our voters' cards. I've got my hope in my voters' card to say, my voters' card is a weapon. Once I use my voters' card, things will change. And it doesn't mean when things change, also I'll be like driving, I'll be a minister. That's why we've got readers, we've got members and followers. So, guys, let's vote wisely and let's plan. Because this battle which is coming on 12th October is generally. It doesn't mean when we change the government, that one will be rich. Wow, me, I'm suffering. In your vote, you've got power in your vote. As we go to vote, there are those people who don't know how to read, how to understand how to vote. Guys, for you, so I've got some ways to share, which is as you go there, will be coming, as we are campaigning door by door campaigning, even at the platforms we are campaigning, what to do. You have to, that X which we cross on someone whom we are voting for, let's not get those words from those people who've got corrupted minded to say, cancel to a person whom you don't want. When you cancel, it means you vote. Let's be careful. That's where you find that how come today he's in State House? That's the mistake, and that's the foundation of the mistake. 2, don't just be overexcited in my 50 kwacha to say Vampera 50 kwacha Saradi. And I'll vote for them. I'll give them my details just because of 50 kwacha. Look for the future. Us generation who are growing, where we are going. Our late president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, may he so rest in peace. His focus was on us, future leaders, youths. That's where his focus, yeah. So, as a parent, don't let your children and those spouses, people who are following you as a leader, to find themselves in dilemma. No. If you give those people votes, this trouble which we are seeing will never end. And the trouble are still coming. Chinese, how can Chinese, someone who is a foreigner, just an investigator, someone who come to work to make money in our country, start again mocking us to say we've got no vision, we are constant on little things. How could you let that happen in our country? It really hurts. And as a youth, one day things will change. I promise, madam.
I saw that headline, but can I just say something over that headline, Mr.
You can, sure.
Yes, that was a very, for me anyway, when I looked at the headline, I took it in two ways. I did my analysis and I said, okay, certain things they happen because people, it's the same as like you are going to a new house in a village, maybe in someone's house, like you reach the yard. The first impression that you are going to see, if the entrance, there is a lot of garbage, you have the mind to think that everything that you are going to find in the house is garbage. So,
oh my God.
Personally, I'll tell you this, that I've worked with Chinese nationals. And when they talk like that, they know the influence that they have on those people masquerading to be our leaders. So for him to talk like that, because we expect for him to say, we are so limited in thinking. And sometimes we even think like it's like they were sent by Jesus Christ, or maybe there's a way that they are special. It's because they look at what the caliber of people who are governing us, the caliber of the people who are making decisions for us. When they look at that, they are able to analyze, even yourself. That's as I've given an example that when you enter into a house, when you just look at the parents, the behavior of the parents, you are able also to trace it, to look at only probability, using probability. You can tell that probably the children, they are like A, B, C, D. So people will continue rating us in whatever way they feel like rating us, as long as we are going to allow mediocrity in individuals who can't even understand national issues masquerading to be our leaders. We have seen MPs sometimes in the parliament who are even failing to talk. Someone saying, they can't even express themselves. So when someone, because that's an investor, he comes, there are such people. What can such people talk with them? Because an investor comes with a very big brain. They come with big projects. We have got people like Bowman Rusambo and other ministers talking about privatization. When the documents are clear for one to understand who was involved and who was not involved. So investors, because they read about that. Then they look, oh, this is a minister. A minister is failing to understand how privatization took place, who did what and what. Then they say, okay, these people are limited because your minister is your representative, the president is your representative. So this is why we need the people, credible men, to stand in front of us. And that way, we are going to be respected. This is a great country that you see around being respected, because we have chosen great men and women to represent them, people who can stand on the truth, people who can articulate issues the way they are supposed to be. But you have got people, sometimes a minister issuing a statement, you even say, oh, this is a minister. So,
anyway, Waskaire, thank you. You said you brought up something about privatization, and I was reading somewhere where Nawakwi withdrew her statement that HH did not sell her mines. Did not sell the mines. And we'll come to that later. But Mutukwa, you had your hand up, and then we'll come to Andrew. I don't know about Ruben and Chester, if you want to say something. We can go to Mutukwa, and then Andrew, and then Chester, and then Ruben.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good. Thank you. How are you, Mr. Skyle?
You
Hello?
are on mute.
Sure. No,
Mr.
I'm
Skyle is
on.
on mute.
Okay, it's on mute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Just
Mr.
go ahead.
How are you?
Yes, I've got two issues to talk about. The issue of COVID-19 and the Lungus campaigns. Then also to Mr. Skyle. Maybe let me start with you. My brother Skyle, I've been following your discourses in social media, and I've fallen in love with with everything that you bring to the public.
Thank you.
The only thing that I'm worried about is that you do much of it on social media. I don't know whether it's because of other things to do maybe with the finances, but how I wish you could extend, whether it's an organization or it's what, even to the rural areas, even to the compounds, so that you meet people one-on-one, because what I see now is like Zambian people lack knowledge. That's why we are able to follow people blindly, provided they say they are
Mr. Mutuka's connection is bad. So what he's trying to say is Mr. Skyle.
to do whatever they want just because they are leader.
Okay, Mr. Mutukwa, we're going to have to come back later. Your connection is bad. But what Mr. Mutukwa is saying that Mr. Skyle, your works are really good, is very impressed, but then there's a disconnect about the connection in the grassroots. But I'm here to inform you, Mr. Ketoi, and all the interested people that Nangoma Foundation Zambia, this is our project. We are teaming up with Mr. Skyle, and moving forward, we are going to have human rights education workshops in villages, in schools, to educate people about their rights, their voters' rights, so that umuntu nangwaisa nakatenge, they'll just take that chitenge, just insult him and tell him to go away. It's an insult. You cannot bring these chitenges, which are plastic, telela chitenge, and give somebody for a mandate to go to Manda Hill for 5 years and steal more money. So next is Ruben and Chester and Pauline.
Okay, and thank you, Mama, for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Okay, thank you. I think let me also contribute on the two items. The first one is on the voting knowledge, which my brother just raised earlier. I think to our viewers, even to us who are here, I think let's take it upon ourselves to make sure that we teach our fellow youths and others, because for this year, the election for this year, the way I've seen it, there's a high number of people who are going to vote for the first time. And then there was that post which was going around to say there's a group of people which is misleading. Then say when you go to vote, the person that you don't want to vote is the person that you are going to put a cross on. And you find that, they say that there's power in knowledge, and also people are perished because of lack of knowledge. So find that to many youths and those who can't read and others who are aged, you find that they're going to listen to that. And then when voting, they're going to do that same mistake, which is going to cost us. And then they'll start blaming each other by the end of the day. So I think before 12 August, let's make sure that to those who have never voted before. We teach them and we tell them the steps to be taken when voting. Then the other thing is about the issue of COVID-19 and the reopening of schools and university. You know, it's a fun thing. I don't know, PF and the President Edgar Lungu, I don't know sometimes how they plan their games. Okay. To Aseka, but
Munguru.
very much. You know.
Oh my God.
So to coming back to us youths again, you know, in everything that you do as a person, there are always plans. You know, before planting a seed, you say, okay, this month I'm planting a seed. Next month I'll go and remove the weeds. The other month I'll go and check. The other month I'll harvest. This is also the plan that we're supposed to take as voting, and also as obtaining our educational papers. Okay, think about this. Which value are you going to have if after 10 years or 5 years in university, and then you come and sit at home with your papers like the way others are doing? What value is the paper going to add to you or to your family? It's nothing. And that's why you find that many people, they're unable to believe what's going around, and then you find that they're going to commit suicide because of find that they are not worthy in the community. Was it last year or the other year where there was that guy who killed himself in Ndola, then the other one in Lusaka, to say, you know, I have papers, but I have no job. You're going to apply there. They say they need money. Go there. There's corruption. You there, and that guy killed himself. Why did he kill himself? Because he thought of it. He was worthy to work because he had all the requirements that a person needs to find something to do. His family, they worked hard to make sure that he acquired the papers. But now, because he failed to use the papers which his family sacrificed to him to achieve, that's what he can pay back the favor. Because he failed to do that, he thought of killing himself. No, my father and my mother, they did what they can to make sure that I get the papers. But what am I doing to repay them back? Nothing. And then he killed himself. And that's the same thing. Let's not think that maybe that guy was stupid or that guy did not have knowledge to think. No. Why the government of PF contributed to that person, and that's what is also going to happen to us. So before we get excited of I miss boarding here, I miss college, I miss UNSA or CBU. A one-day moment will not make you enjoy it for the upcoming 5 years. It's going to be misery, and that misery we are going to regret. And then the other issue which I want to just talk about before I give it a chance to others, about the Chinese person who was insulting us. Now, do you know why Chinese now have the power to insult us? No. Why? It's because they have seen that there's nothing we can do. How can you and I stand and fight a Chinese man with this government in power? If the mayor of Lusaka, Mao Sampa, wanted to do it and he failed, with the power of the office that he had as the mayor of the highest, the biggest city in Zambia, with that honor which he had, he failed to do it. What about you and I? Which powers are we going to use to talk back to a Chinese man? There was that other person who was seen pulling a Chinese man on a trolley. Just imagine, he was working day and night. After knocking off again, he was standing to a bicycle pulling the Chinese man. Now, just try to think about it. What will happen if again we give them another 5 years? Then now we're going to be carrying them on our backs. The things it's not like jokes. these things, they are going to become reality. At now, they look like jokes. But anyway, we still have this chance to make things right. So to our viewers, even to us who are here, let's make sure that we use this opportunity which we have remained with correctly and wisely, so that you won't regret in the upcoming 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. This is what we are going to show the Chinese. This one, voters card. This is the power we have. This is more powerful than any money. You see, I'm old school. Voters card. When Zambia was a country, quality. This voters card is like 20-something years old. Chinese, here we come.
Nice one.
Next is Manchester.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I have few issues to share. Some of the issues is one of them is employment opportunities in Zambia. I think employment opportunities as Zambians we should forget for now, not until we change this government. Employment opportunities, they have gone back to PF, even when PF cadres, even when they do not have necessary qualifications. Then the second item, the issue of voter sensitization, is that they have not done enough sensitization. So a lot of people be caught unaware because a lot of ballots will not be stamped at the back, meaning there is need to sensitize people, especially in rural areas. I don't know how it can be done, but the basic thing we can do, we need to sensitize people in rural areas, especially in those places we know that we are assured of getting good number of votes than the other come. Then the other issue, I don't know, I'm sure you have seen what is happening, that the UPND have not been allowed to, they have not been given the flying rights in Zambia and other issues. So that is another ploy which has been employed by the PF government to make sure that the UPNDs, they are disadvantaged from campaigning and sharing the message of hope to Zambians. I submit.
Thank you, thank you. So you know what? It's just a matter of time. We are counting down. Very soon, UPND will be controlling who gives the flying rights in Zambia. It's just a matter of days. Let them enjoy it while it lasts. Pauline, you are next.
Yep.
And then we can go back to Andrew. Pauline? Maybe she's not going to come on. Okay. So I just want to comment real quick on the misinformation. I think Chester, you said something about these PF telling cadres where to vote. Right now, as I was sitting, I was just checking on the literacy rate of Zambia. So Zambia, our literacy rate 2018, according to UNESCO, the literacy rate of Zambia 2018 was 86%. That was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So today we can safely say our literacy rate is in the 90, which means Zambians, we are highly educated people. Zambians, we can read and write. If you graduated from grade 12, you know how to read instructions. Nango femu grade 7, inga walipita mu grade 7. Special paper 1, special paper 2. Can you fail to mark a ballot box? Eh? So the only thing that's remaining is to tell people to watch at the back and also to read instructions, because these ECs, they are tricky. They might manipulate the instructions on that ballot paper. And what I can say is people who are campaigning, they should have a sample ballot paper and actually show people how it's going to look like and where they are supposed to check.
And just as you are still on, just there's something that I just want to sort in. I've received the reports where PF, they have gone into parts of the country where they are saying that there will be no elections. So they are telling villagers, actually people have been appealing to say, please, can you tell the people that there are elections? PF have been going around telling people that we are going to have elections this year. So you sometimes you begin to wonder what's really going on with PF. PF, the other side, they are busy campaigning, abrogating the electoral code of conduct. The other side, the other group is telling people, no, we are not going to have elections. Now, the whole thing with PF here, we are targeting a voter apathy. That is the only thing that they are relying on, that if people don't go to vote, they will have an opportunity to play around with the figures. And this is why we are telling you that let us go in numbers. If you have got people who are waiting for you, please, on that day, spare them. Let them go and wait just for 40, just for a few hours. Because what we want is sanity at the end of the day.
Yes, and Mr. Skyle, I think moving forward, every day when we come live, we are going to be spending 30 minutes just on voter education, what people need to do on that day. We are going to dedicate 30 minutes. Every time we come live, we are just going to talk about what people need to do and what they need to know. We shall be sharing information. And just on that voter apathy, the same tactic was used here in the United States, where, you know, in the strongholds of the Republicans, the authorities over there, they shut down polling stations. Can you imagine? So the Republicans shut down polling stations so that people can be discouraged to go and vote, you know. And some of the polling stations that remained were far away, where people had to drive, you know, just disadvantage the polls. So promoting voter apathy. So we are seeing the same thing with the PF, telling people the election is cancelled, you know, and that's another trick. Purging the electorate of the old voter is another trick. That's why we are urging people to check, make sure that they are on the ballot. But, you know, I think we've been here for over an hour. So every day we'll be sharing what people need to do to ensure that they are on the registers, voters register, and what they need to know. I see some new people here. Otherwise, Andrew, you can come in, and then Mr. Skyle, you can close.
Thank you once more. You know, I don't know where to put PF now, because the attitude is just out of hands now. It's like bullying Yamuma school. What happens in high schools, boarding schools? There is that kind of caliber, that mentality of bullying. That is what is happening in Zambia. I came across that video which Mr. Edgar Lungu was like, something like that. You know, being a leader, you have to have that mentality to think that whatever I say, what will be the outcome? How do you say that Tabakapite as if it's him who will be voting? And moreover, to tell him, if he's watching or whoever is watching for him, even your wife won't vote for you because she knows that the economy is bad. And the other thing is this, you know, Mr. Skyle tackled the issue of some MPs who used to fail to speak out in the parliament, reason being they don't know how to speak. Yeah, that's the truth. How many times did Mr. Lusambo stood in the house to speak? I think twice or one. You know why? His mentality is all about bullying, and whatever to give to the nation, he had nothing. So when you look at his mentality, it's about, like you said, privatization. He spent much of his time talking of privatization, which he wasn't even there. Moreover, why not allowing people who know much about privatization to come up with such issues? Not just because you are an MP or that and this. And the other thing, you talk of this so-called Chinese, you know, it's very unfortunate. Mr. Skyle, instead of putting Mr. whatever so-called from Marco Polo company CEO, putting him on my paper, they're supposed to put people like you, Mr. Skyle, because you're talking of the future. You're talking about how the government should implement this and that. Now, you're putting on a person who's not even, I think even in their country, they don't know him. You get the point. In Zambia, we've got this shallow mind, more especially these leaders who are ruling us right now. Them, in China, they will never be mentioned in my paper of China. Not even, I think we were presidents when I mentioned China, wow. But they are ever busy putting up people who can't see that they don't belong here. I'm not becoming a racist here, but I'm just saying, you know, being a foreigner, you have to stick to your lane. You don't have to think as if you've got that power to control things. Last time I talked about the same thing of him coming in now open to talk of how Zambians are limited with whatever they do. You know, he's got workers. I concur with him. He's got workers. So why can't he just stick to his workers and educate them on how to go about it? I remember last time I worked for one company. After resigning, I realized that, you know, working for a person is like, whenever you wake up, it's about thinking on what a person will say to you when you become late, like that. You know, that's the mentality of such people like the Chinese. We shouldn't even waste time talking about March, this, and let's just focus on, like Madam has said already, educating people on how to vote. And it's very unfortunate the news which Mr. Schuyler has just articulated to do with those PF who went around telling people that won't be election this year. You know, I don't know what happened. Them, they think that even if a few people vote, they'll vote for them or manipulating the results. This time around, it will be tough because as Nangoma Foundation, all I know is that we'll be there for them. We'll be on them, and which is none. But PF, you know, time is up. If you don't want to turn around, like, let's say, I've heard the printing more money to invest more in your campaign. It won't happen because the same money, I think I would prefer to change the currency, some features so that we see how many people have kept their money. And that would be good. And talk of the election day. I'm not anybody, but I'm just a regular person. I will declare it a public as in a holiday just for votes. Whoever wants to work, no more work. Whether Chinese or whites, no work. To be just election day everywhere. As long as you're a Zambian, you have to vote. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Malawi Formula. We'll be talking more about protecting the vote. Every day we'll dedicate 30 minutes every day. It will be Malawi Formula. We'll be at the polling station 6 a.m. We'll eat breakfast, dinner, lunch there. And the Bachester, you can close, and then afterwards, Kaile. Bachester, you have a hand up.
Yeah,
Pauline,
there's one.
wanted to say something? Pauline? No. Nioba, you wanted to say something? Okay, Chester, you can go ahead, and then Waskaila, you can close.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. I think received last night, it was disturbing. I've never seen it before where the head of state would propose violence, declare war against the opposition camp, telling Zambians that at us we are stronger than the UPND. We have the MMD in us and the PF will finish off the UPND whilst holding a stick. I think that is the reckless conduct of a president I've ever seen in the world. There is no way head of state would behave like that. I think such things should be condemned. I'm surprised that even today's papers have not seen anything to do with those issues to condemn such an act, because there is no way a head of state, a Republican president, would talk like that and is expecting votes from us Zambians who are perceived to be UPND members.
Thank you, Chester. Actually, you know, I agree with you 100%. You know, like I was thinking, I'm like, how many people in Zambia are talking the way we are talking? Zambia, there is a lot of people in Zambia who are educated, ones are already mute. So does it mean all the papers have been paid? Here online, like Inganabu Koluchelo, I follow Mwebantu. Mwebantu is comments, my prayers. I'm like, honestly, is this what Mwebantu can be reporting when we are 30 days before election? The Zambia is finished, I'm telling you. Like, every news media is paralyzed. Tapari ulela ndapama politics. Bambi balele mba patu doli, posting jokes every day. Mune posta majoke abantu balefwa imwe election ileisa. All these malpractices that are happening in this country, reputable newspapers are posting utu dolly and jokes. It's sad, it's pathetic. All I can say is come on August 12, we shall deal with all those news media who didn't do their job. They don't deserve to have a license. License to be reporting about utu dolly and who for a lipstick report up. A whole presidential candidate making a statement about a man putting on lipstick. I'm like, really? Zambia has gone to the dogs. If this is our caliber of leaders we have, you know, I was just sitting, I'm like, oh my God. This country is finished. It's people like you and me, mweba naba nono, mweba lelanda. Abantu bakalamba, babula maiki bamba kulalanda, pamundu usubire lipstick, nasa amba na mafuta. So what? Who cares? People are dying of hunger. That's what really matters. You know? Basically, you can cross before Shirarufia Nyokulanda.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you, especially to the people of Zambia. I've been receiving a lot of encouraging messages. I know that our country is going through a lot. I appreciate all the people who are trying to follow and who takes their time to read my daily publications, my write-ups about finance issues. And personally, I'm one person who just feel and who just believes that Zambia is a great country. And every time around, when I look around, when I move about around our country, I see wealth. Today, you know, for Zambia to gain respect, for Zambia to be respected, we need leadership that's going to be able to make its own money, using the own resources that God has given us. We'll never be respected, fellow countrymen and women, as long as every time we have leaders who can't think, who can only know how to go and borrow, who can't utilize our own resources. For me, if you just choose to be a beggar, then do away with your respect. Nobody is willing to respect a beggar. So people will utter N-words. That's why for me, when anyone issues like some kind of demeaning remarks to us, I always say, it gives me more energy as a young person to say, we need to fix our country. We need to show the world that we also have brains. We can do things. We can better our country. Look at how Rwanda is coming out today, a country that suffered the West after the genocide. But because people have put right individuals, there is accountability, things are coming well. The world, even the Western countries are eyeing to go there, to invest there. But who can come and invest in a country where the president is inciting political violence?
Imagine.
When cadres they fight, there are high chances that that investor, their properties will be damaged. Imagine someone investing 10 billion, and then you have a president who gives machetes, who gives cadres, pangas to go and kill other people. When those people, they react, you are going to have violence, and people's investments are going to be threatened. This is why, to the young people of Zambia, I'm calling upon you that this is our election. This is a very, very important election in the history of Zambia, because we need to make a future, not only for ourselves, but also for our children and the other generations to come. And we have to be very strong. 45 years and below, if you are not going to be concerned about how these elections will go, then you don't know.
What about us who are 50 years and above?
You people, you know what? Let me tell you one thing.
Oh my God. Mama, discrimination, man.
No. The point
I'm just kidding.
Yes. The point is this here.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I understand, madam. The point here is that I'm trying to make that if you are to look at today, personally, I get concerned. If you are to go do your own surveillance, go to someone who likes posting about entrepreneurship in our country, you are going to find the 2 comments. Go to an article which is bringing out serious issues affecting the country, affecting the young people. You are going to find the 3 comments. Go to anything foolish on the social media, you are going to find 20,000 comments.
Million.
Youth,
To the land.
youth will be there wasting energy. But
Viral.
imagine today, all of us, we could voice out. All of us, we could remind Mr. Rungu that what you are doing is wrong for the country. All of us, if we could come in one unison, how many people could we manage to kill at a go? We could triumph. Last year, I was booked. By the way, we survived by the grace of God. Personally, I've been booked several times. Last year, I issued a statement. This is what I said. You can check for it online. You can search a headline that was carried out by the mass newspaper, which said, Rungu, a chief thug who threatened judges. Yes, Kaile. Now, I wasn't given an opportunity to explain what I meant here, because when you say something, you must understand the legal implication. And I always tell PF cadres that, I don't write out of the blues. When I bring out a topic, when I call someone a criminal, I understand the legal implication. If the person sues me, I know that I'm going to prove beyond to any reasonable court of law. I'm going to present the reason why I'm saying that person is a thug, that person is a criminal. Now, when I issued this statement, there are so many things that were brought out, said by the president. The president himself threatened judges. His aides by then, Amos Chanda, State House, threatened the judges. Now, Skyre just quoted what the president has been doing. The whole entire Zambia police, up to today, they are still hunting for me. But one thing that I can just promise the country, I love Zambia, and I think I've just dedicated to see a better Zambia. I just want a better Zambia for all Zambians to enjoy, not just a few group of individuals. That's my passion. I grew up in the village, typical village. And there, the way we used to live is about community. It's not about you as an individual. If you eat, we used to sit in big groups. If your neighbor, they don't have food, you get concerned. So some of us, we have come from such cultures where we feel that, what if today I can have 3 decent meals, what about my neighbor who can't afford? This is why you see us coming out talking. We are not here for malicious, to bend anyone. We are just trying to bring the facts. In summary, Amnesty International gave a report. The PF disputed, but they have continued attacking citizens who share divergent views. So you can understand their reasoning capacity, their thinking capacity. They don't even recall what they have done today. Tomorrow they will be arguing, minus looking at their history. The president, he threatened the judges. And that's all, because I don't expect a head of state, the whole lot of the head of state, someone who's sworn by the Constitution of Zambia to threaten judges. Only a cadre, only a thug will do that. For me, because a person who's in such a high office can do such a thing. For me, I take that whosoever does such a thing, anyone who fails to protect the Constitution of Zambia is a thug. That's my way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Baskaile. So in closing, guys, we've been here almost 2 hours, but it's worth it, And I'm just encouraging my youth, you have nothing to lose. Bambi, Badikwatama business, Bambi, ama judges, they are eating from this government. So that's why they are quiet. They have been threatened. By youth, you have nothing to lose. Meal allowances. Some of you have graduated, you have no jobs. Step up, speak up. This is the last chance. Let's vote with our lives this election. Otherwise, guys, we'll meet tomorrow again. And Mr. Skyler said something to say, in Zambia, these people commenting on stupid things, they are viral. Zambians, I want to urge you to be concerned about your politics. It's your life, especially now. If there's any time to be involved in the last few days before election, it's discouraging, you know. Millions of comments. In the millions of comments. What do we want as Zambians? Like, really? Let's balance our life. By youth, balance your life. Right now, if you invest your time in politics, it will pay off. It's going to pay off, you know. Let's work together and ensure we deliver Zambia from these thieves. Otherwise, we continue next tomorrow. We end here. You guys will stay in the background. Otherwise, I'm going to end the live broadcast. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Good night.